This is IGN. Dwayne Johnson's Oscar effort is missing teeth, but not from getting punched in the face. This is your IGN review of The Smashing Machine by Clint Gage. There's a scene somewhere in the middle of The Smashing Machine that involves a knife, a cactus, and a mild disagreement. It's a light argument plenty of the audience will be familiar with. It's likely a lot of you have had this exact conversation, but the way this version of it is blocked, the way the props play into the subtext, it's absolutely nerve-wracking. There's a juxtaposition of violence and politeness at the center of this scene that makes The Smashing Machine a really fascinating movie to watch. From Benny Safdie, half of the Safdie brothers whose good time and uncut gems pulled exactly 0 punches with their characters and subject matter, The Smashing Machine continues the filmmaker's trademark grounded and unflinching approach to obsessive people, just with a little less power behind its jabs. The Smashing Machine is the true story of Mark Kerr and the early days of MMA fighting. It's a biopic with an ending already written, and for writer-director Benny Safdie, that's kind of a first. Outside of Lenny Cook, a documentary about a high school basketball phenom, Safdie has stayed squarely in fiction, so a based on a true story sports movie from him is an interesting proposition. One of his defining attributes as a filmmaker is a kind of relentless realism that usually gets tied to stories of wildly obsessed people. While an MMA fighter seems a natural fit for Safdie's storytelling, it's the biopic part where he's handcuffed to some degree in terms of how much he can dramatize events that actually happened that I was most curious about. But before I get there, you have to start any conversation about this film with Dwayne Johnson. His turn as Kerr has, of course, been the subject of a lot of Oscar buzz and ovations at film festivals, and it is an impressive and altogether different performance from him. There's a cynical way to look at the prosthetic makeup and the kinda impression of Mark Kerr he affects in his voice as Oscar bait, but The Rock, as he's wont to do, really did put in the work. This is truly a different kind of role for him, and not just shades of the charismatic persona he honed in the ring for years. But I don't think the performance in a vacuum is Oscar caliber, but you have to appreciate how the film as a whole is built to highlight Johnson's work. Benny Safdie put him in a precise position to succeed. He put him opposite Emily Blunt, who is unimpeachably great in everything. They clearly enjoy working together and they're already buddies, so there's a comfort level there that you can't fake. Blunt, as Kerr's girlfriend Dawn, has an interesting journey as a titular smashing machine, with issues of her own to deal with. It's the strength of Blunt's performance that leaves an open question for most of the film. Who is the worst influence on whom? The thing the Smashing Machine is missing, however, is a sharp set of teeth. There aren't too many edges that don't seem to have been smoothed over, which keeps the film from really standing apart from other sports movies, or properly living alongside other Safdie films. There are some truly great moments of filmmaking throughout, the aforementioned knife and cactus bit being one of my favorites. There are scenes where Safdie's dedication to realism and the documentary-style camera work turn routine moments into legit pangs of emotion, like an elevator door opening at the wrong time, bringing on a flood of sympathy. These things happen in a flash, but they nearly always land. It's one of Safdie's most incredible skills, and it's on display all over The Smashing Machine. These moments on their own, I think, are undeniably brilliant, worth studying even. The film, however, doesn't quite reach the sum of its parts. Dwayne Johnson is without a doubt doing the best work of his career, thanks to surrounding himself with the absolutely perfect cast and crew to help him shine, and Emily Blunt is reliably excellent performing opposite him. Meanwhile, Benny Safdie, who also edited the film by the way, is so thoroughly in command of his craft that a handful of moments throughout the film make the entire runtime worth it, but The Smashing Machine overall doesn't quite have the same bite as some of his other work, making the movie seem a little less crucial than maybe it could have been. Still, if the film doesn't add up to the sum of its parts, it's important to note that most of those parts are still pretty great. The Smashing Machine's IGN score? 7 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on The Smashing Machine, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.